Okay, on our last Songwriter Moments episode, we talked about planning a songwriting session. Planning a song. Not waiting for an inspiring moment to happen, but simply sitting down and planning a specific song. So I want to talk about another song that was a planned song for me. Now, on the last one I talked about, it was a planned song that had another song in mind that we were doing a continuation of. Even though it wasn't the same melody, doesn't sound like that song, we were building it based on a type and story from another song. This time, we're just taking an ideal of a specific person, place, or thing that's popular, and we're writing a song around that. And in this particular song, it just happens to be Bill Monroe and Rosine, Kentucky, Jerusalem Ridge, and the Bill Monroe home place. Now, how that came about, I grew up about 35 miles from the Bill Monroe home place there in Rosine, Kentucky. I lived in Central City, Kentucky, which is right across the river in Muhlenberg County from Ohio County, which Rosine is in. And so I grew up very much aware of Bill Monroe and all the happenings in bluegrass, and love bluegrass music, and I'm a bluegrass artist. And I play the fiddle, the mandolin, I played other instruments, dobro, bass. I've done quite a few instruments, but that's the point here being that I was very familiar with Bill Monroe. And I was managing and producing Christian Davis. And we had produced an album with a song on it called Rosine, I Cry. And I was out scouting Rosine and shooting video, getting prepared for a video shoot that I was about to do with Christian for Rosine, I Cry, which ended up being a lyric / concept video, somewhere between a lyric video and a concept video. And you can view that on Christian's YouTube channel, Christian Davis Official, or Official Christian Davis. If you type in Rosine, I Cry, Christian Davis, you'll find it right there on YouTube. And in the process of doing that, I started thinking, I'm going to write a song about Bill Monroe, Jerusalem Ridge, and Rosine, Kentucky. And as I was walking around, I'm thinking, so how do we build this song? And I'm walking across the grounds and through Rosine, and looking at all the Bill Monroe stuff, which I had looked at many times before. And Bill was popular for that high, lonesome sound. He sang the high tenor part. He played the mandolin, which has got that high sound. So the first thing that popped in my mind is there's a high, lonesome sound coming from Jerusalem Ridge. And even the melody was there. There's a high, lonesome sound coming from Jerusalem Ridge. So that was the first thing that popped in my mind, both the melody and the first line of the chorus. So from that, I started building the song, and I wrote the chorus first. There's a high, lonesome sound coming from Jerusalem Ridge. Then I put in, being as I am, Bill was a hunter. He fox hunted. Well, my brother and I grew up coon hunting. So I thought, man, this would be a great opportunity to incorporate the hounds into this song. And I'll get my brother, and he still hunts. He's got hounds. He's got black and tans. I'll get my brother, and we'll take the dogs out, and we'll shoot some footage of the hunt to incorporate it. So my second line was, turn out the hounds. Let's find out what it is. So then I had, there's a high, lonesome sound coming from Jerusalem Ridge. Turn out the hounds. Let's find out what it is. My next line kind of fell right in place. Some say it's Bill Monroe. He's pouring out his heart and soul. They swear by the old Blue Moon. Now, he did the song Blue Moon of Kentucky, so I pulled that in. They swear by the old Blue Moon, that's who it is. So that became the chorus. So we had that out of the way, we had the melody. Now we had to write some verses. So, there's a high lonesome sound coming from Jerusalem Ridge. Bill's gone, but that high lonesome sound is still coming from Jerusalem Ridge. So, there must be a ghost. So the first line of the very first verse is, there's a legend of a ghost. And I didn't know the name of any of the creeks in that area. So I drove up, and there's a really big one that flows right through. As you go through the gate, you got to cross over this good sized creek there to get up to the home place. And I looked on maps and everything, and I couldn't find a name for it. So I just came up with one that fit into the rhyme of the song. So there's the legend of a ghost on Old Mill Creek. And that became the name of the creek, on Old Mill Creek. He carries a mandolin around, dated 1923. Now, I had done some research, and the research that I had done talked about a 1933 mandolin that Bill had. So that was originally my lyric there. But then when I got Gary Adams to play the part of the ghost of Bill Monroe, now Gary, he knows everything there is to know about Bill. He's just awesome. He'll sit and talk to you and tell you stories. He can talk like Bill. He can sing like Bill. He can play like Bill. So I got Gary to be in the music video, and Gary was telling me, can you go back in and relay that vocal? Is it too late? I said, no, I've got the studio. I'm doing it in my studio. So he said, well, you want to change that to 1923, because that was Bill's original mandolin. So we changed it. There's a legend of a ghost on Old Mill Creek. He carries a mandolin around, dated 1923. Some say it's Bill Monroe, and others say they just don't know. But on a moonlit night, he haunts the hills of Rosine. And that became the first verse. So we built it around Rosine, Kentucky, the creek that flows through there in front of the old home place, the hills, Jerusalem Ridge and the hills back there. So all of that was the plan, looking at it and thinking about it, and we fit all that in and we turned it into a verse. And then we go into the chorus. And in the second verse, we had to have a second verse, so we come down to the second verse, and it says, on a moonlit night, you can hear him in the pines. Echoes of those lonesome sounds will take you back in time. From Nobody Loves Me to the beautiful Kentucky Waltz, and Blue Moon of Kentucky, Keep Shining On. All those songs were songs that Bill had done. So we pulled that into the picture. And we painted that picture, of on a moonlit night, that blue moon shining, on a moonlit night. And that became the second verse. Then we wrote a third verse, and the third verse went like this here. So if you're ever passing through Rosine, okay, I was driving back through thinking, what can my third verse be? And I come up on the sign, Rosine, Kentucky, and you're coming through there, and I thought, wow, this is it. If you're ever passing through Rosine, just listen for the melody of that old mandolin. And when you hear that lonesome sound drifting through the fog, you'll know Bill Monroe is having a ball. And that became There's a High Lonesome Sound. We finished the cut, we shot the video, we got everything prepped. Now, the backstory to that is this. I've spent my entire life playing music as a musician, not taking the front of the stage as a lead singer. I did some backup vocals for some different bands, but I never was the lead singer front man. I just didn't feel like that was me. Didn't think I had the voice to carry that. So I was a musician and a writer, and I was happy with that. But I had never gotten to push myself. I had always stayed in the shadows, so to speak. And I did a whole thing called From the Shadows, and you can watch that here on YouTube also. But this song, after I recorded it and Corona had hit, I'd been touring with Christian Davis, managing his band, produced his album, was playing fiddle and harmonica, singing, different things with him. Plus, I had toured during that time. We brought John Snyder in on the tour, and I was playing fiddle in his band and harmonica in his band also. So Christian was the one who called, and I got to go and play on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry. It wasn't the Grand Ole Opry show, so I had a dream of a lifetime. Now, this is at 52-year-old, so I've spent a lifetime in music, playing festivals, concerts, churches, bars, whatever. And but never as Danny Jones, always just as a member of the band. And we did a live at Libby's thing for a while, me and a buddy of mine, and I sang with him. I wasn't the lead singer, but we were a duet. But I never got to promote Danny Jones. So at 52, Corona hits, and we're sitting there, we're not touring, so I decided to release this single, There's a High Lonesome Sound. And it took about 3 months, a month of sending out the radio, another month of advertising that it dropped, and 2 months after it dropped, we actually charted at number 20 on the Bluegrass Today charts. So we were at number 20 for 2 weeks. My very first single, out of the box, There's a High Lonesome Sound, charted at number 20. And that was a dream come true for me at 52-year-old. That was my overnight success, if you want to call it that. 40 years to get a overnight success. So that's just another little interesting tidbit of what songwriting has done for me, and what you can do on planning a song. And it can be a good song, and it can go somewhere.